Three things. Three things, three things, three things, three things. Now that I have your attention, I just want to take the time today to talk about three things, specifically three questions everyone should be asking themselves during this time. Question one, what does Black Lives Matter stand for? If your response to this question was saying anything along the lines of Black lives are worth more than white lives or other lives, or that all lives matter and we need to not use the term Black Lives Matter, I would encourage you to think about the following things. Who are you having these conversations with? Are you having these conversations with Black people? Talking about what Black Lives Matter mean? Are you doing the anecdotal research online to know what it means? Because if you said what I said earlier about like you're talking about all lives, or you're talking about that Black lives are worth more than other lives, or that it's more important than that, then you have missed the point completely. You haven't looked at what the founders are saying. You haven't listened to what Black people are saying this movement means. And you're not willing to do the research because most of the time people are willing to comment and correct and saying, no, we're really paying attention to this as an issue right now. It's not to say that, let's say, police brutality doesn't affect other groups at all. We all know that it does. But specifically here, we're talking about the issues that are within the Black community and the historic history that's been present. So let's not get distracted about, well, if it's not one for all, what are we talking about? We cannot be one. We cannot be joined as a nation. We cannot pretend that everything is kumbaya or will be fine unless we address specific issues when they come up, especially when they are extra prevalent. Question two. When and why did you start posting about these issues or commenting on posts about these issues? And with this question, I specifically want to address when rioting came into play. Did you start posting and commenting after rioting? And were your response to the riots? See, I agree with them protesting, but I think it devalues or that it takes away from what they're trying to do or say, or it does more harm than good. Have you genuinely asked the question why? Why would people believe that looting and rioting would result in some form of change for them? Like, we can talk historically about times where it has resulted in change. We can talk about how Black people have been peacefully protesting for years and years and haven't been heard. And some of them feel like, I'm going to make you hear me and I'll do it in a way that will hurt you, which is consumerism. There are so many reasons as to why people can do it. And not even everything is being done or it's like done by people of Black Lives Matter movement. There's nuances conversation. It's like, oh, the protesters started first, and oftentimes the police have instigated the protesters. And if you're not treating this conversation with delicacy and thinking, how could this person truly feel, and why do they think that this could be a way to be heard, you're not being an ally. Then you're just being a narcissistic prick. Honestly, if you're like, well, my view of it, and here's how I see it, and me, I, my views, my morality. Think about how other people feel. This isn't about you. Think about why this movement is even in existence. Think about why people are doing what they're doing, what people are trying to say, why it is so important. When you're asking those questions, you'll be less likely to comment something like, I think it devalues their argument. I promise you that. Question three, are all cops bad people? Now, if your answer was no, or no, and we need to stop making generalizations because they're hurtful, you're like almost there. What we need to really think about is why this like notion is in the air to begin with. Again, like asking the question why. There have been so many instances within the past 5 to 10 years where we have body cam footage or dash cam footage that shows an officer doing a bad job, making a bad call, people's cell phones all the time. And yet we cannot have so many officers, including these quote unquote good ones, saying that that cop did a bad job. They are not doing their job. They are not representative of us as a community. And that's what you're not seeing. And I saw this great post that said, there will not be good cops until they start holding the bad cops accountable. People are becoming cops that have anger problems, that are like mentally not sound, and you can see it with people that are using aggressive force. And even if you're thinking, again, if we'll go back to this thing of like, and Blue Lives Matter, if you truly cared about Blue lives, you would be wanting them to have mental health resources, to have proper training so their job becomes easier, so they encounter less danger. You would want them to have more again, resources at their disposal so they could do a better job, be more thorough, and be more happy in their lives. But you don't want that. You want to use Blue Lives Matter as a way to deter away from Black Lives Matter, away from talking about the issue that exists between cops and the Black community, and that has existed for so many years. And the things that we want to put in place, like bias training, again, mental health, community liaisons that would help to assist with these issues, people are not willing to have that discussion. So if you're thinking that no and no but, think more. Why? And now I know, everyone wants to say, oh, it's kumbaya, everything's fine. You know, High School Musical, we're all in this together. But we're all in this together, 'cause we know that we'll call out problems when we see them. But honestly, we are not doing enough to ask, why do I have certain opinions formulated? Why am I also not willing to do any research, reading an article, I had a whole rant about that, about these topics so I can become well informed, especially when I'm not connected to a vast majority of people that are in the affected group. Like, why am I so willing to just make up my own beliefs and confer them with people that they're not affecting? Ask yourself these questions, and you'll see why there's so much divide and turmoil. And for those of you out there that are like writing the comments, fighting the good fight, that are armed with your information, thank you so much for the work that you're doing, because it is tiring and I need a break. I just really felt the need to share my thoughts. Thank you for listening and have a great day.